Hello and welcome to the WBPodcast for this month.
Apparently.
Yeah. I'm Jason, and
I wish we had
I'm
a more
joined with Brent and Tad, and we don't have a sponsor.
I wish we had a more exciting intro. It just seems like, hey,
You could make one, I guess.
I'm too lazy for that.
Then don't bitch about it.
This is America. We're going to bitch about things that we're not going to actively try and change.
That's such a bad attitude.
Well, it's not an inaccurate attitude.
No, this is a correct attitude. It's just bad.
Yeah, so fuck you, corporate change. I don't know what that's doing.
Well, corporate is an American thing, so.
Fucking capitalism. Screw you, other nations of the world.
Is there anything you guys want to talk about this week? Drinking water.
It
on
really
the bikes.
It really. It does this awesome thing called hydration.
I know it does.
It keeps you alive.
It's true.
Like you want to feel my heartbeat?
You can get that from space.
You can do that with my heart beating. It goes.
You guys see
You go to a doctor if it goes.
It's like a machine gun Kelly in my chest.
You guys see the stuff on Facebook? I just seen it because somebody else showed it to me about the stuff on Monster. Just looking at the can.
Oh God, yeah, I fucking saw that. That was fucking retarded.
What? Like,
It's one of those stupid propaganda things where like they're all devil worshippers. Because she's saying
supposedly
like
the M's where it's the large part there and goes skinny
It's-
is the Hebrew sixes.
I don't give a damn. I don't.
And then you have on the O you have the cross, which
Yeah.
you turn it upside
I
down.
can
That's
tell you-
Antichrist.
I can tell you all right now for
Sure.
someone who has some kind of graphic art experience.
Okay. I thought you were going to hold
The things on the can, the M, is supposed to look like claw marks because it's
and
a
that's
monster.
what it's supposed to be. And she goes back to the point of the Bible talking about the beast and what is Monster's thing?
The mark of the beast. Oh my God!
Let the beast out.
So if you drink Monster, you're a devil worshiper?
It's lack of knowledge will kill the nation.
You know,
will end up in the centers or some
The
stuff.
only thing that kind of reminds me of, I was watching this show.
I'll have
Hang
to
on.
show it to you.
Hang on. You said lack of knowledge will kill the sinners? Wasn't like the first like sin besides murder or whatever, like they ate from the tree of knowledge?
Yeah.
Now I'm confused. Because first they're getting pissed off because like knowledge is what's going to bring our downfall, and now like not enough knowledge. Oh, not enough knowledge is our downfall.
No, because those fucking religious types will even throw you the curveball where they'll fucking preach off the Old Testament, and you start bringing up something from the Old Testament like, well, Jesus died for our sins, so we don't have to obey the First Testament. So then you have to obey the Ten Commandments? No, you don't have to obey the Ten Commandments because there's no way you can actually live up to the Ten Commandments because people break them all the time. That's why
I
Jesus
don't
died for your
murder
sins.
people.
And I'm like, I don't get it. Fuck all of you anymore, atheists.
It's a much easier lifestyle. You can sleep on
God,
Sundays.
you guys. Lord
You
of
have
the
to go
Rings
for
had
it.
a much better narrative. If you want to follow a book, go for that one. At least it has some backstory and some fucking... It makes more sense. Jesus. But no, I was watching this show
Did it have a cat
called
in it?
Best of the Worst, done by Red Letter Media.
So not a cat.
No, so it's not a cat.
I was really hoping for
Yeah.
a cat.
They do have cats on there.
Okay.
Occasionally.
I like cats.
Red Plinkett talks about eating his cat.
That sounds horrible.
Um,
Or sexual.
Well, they watch this thing called Best of the Worst, and they have the other, like on that same show, they have like the Wheel of the Worst, and they just pick like really shitty movies to watch, and they pick which one's the best of the worst. It's really good. Go check them out. That'll be my plug for the night. But they were watching this fucking Japanese Catholic propaganda musical from 1980s. And at first they didn't know what the hell they were watching because obviously it's in Japanese. And it was just all singing about Jesus and shit like that. And one of the songs, they had no idea what the fuck was going on because they were in a supermarket and everybody had barcodes on and it was like evil. And then everybody like ran to the forest. And then there was the rapture at the end. It was gloriously horrible. and they couldn't figure out what the fuck the barcode thing was. And they were confused as fuck. Well, I guess back in the 1980s when they started introducing barcodes and bar scanners, people interpreted that as the mark of the beast, the show the end times and shit. Yeah. Because people are just looking for the mark of the beast. And they thought it was going to be a barcode, so they're going to put barcodes on everything, on people, so you can scan them and shit. And that, yeah. So anytime I hear about anything of the mark of the beast, now it's just like, fucking just drop it.
Well, they had barcodes on those kids in like Dark Angel with Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
Where
Well, if they did, yeah, I know they do it in movies sometimes too. But
that was a good.
They're talking like in the Bible says in the Armageddon days, which
all those barcode will die.
Well, they just said people will be marked with the mark of the beast. Nobody knows what the fuck the mark of the. They should have been a lot more. See, that's just again. It's so fucking vague. What the fuck it is? People think microchips being put in us is going to be the mark of the beast, and this is so stupid. And people are just dumb.
That is an accurate statement.
I really want to know who wrote the last chapters of the Bible or the Armageddon shit, because I just think that guy was just drunk off something and just like, fuck it, everyone's gonna die. Mark could be, all the babies are gonna be disappeared.
He was off his Zoloft. That's what happened.
And this is, somebody's gonna be Nicolas Cage and they're gonna make a movie about it.
I will watch that movie.
You haven't watched Left Behind?
I haven't watched Left Behind yet, no.
Well,
There was, what was that movie?
that's what I'm talking about.
Knowing, where he had like numbers and the ciphers and it like correspond with like dates of like.
That got nothing to do with the Bible.
I'm not saying
yeah,
but
it
was kind of like the end of the world, which all the rapture is, the end of the fucking world.
I don't know if it would be with aliens though. I don't know if the Bible is that specific. That'd have been awesome.
It's a very vague.
That would have been a really good read. Like at the end, you're like, all right, what the fuck, aliens?
But if you look at
lasers,
some of the cool shit that came from it, I gotta be honest.
What cool
What
shit?
came from what?
From the Bible, some of the
Yeah.
cool shows you've seen
Hate speech.
influenced by it.
Duck
And I'll
Dynasty.
use one that I've just been watching, Sleepy Hollow.
Oh,
Oh!
I thought you were gonna say like.
What?
Duck
Why was that
Dynasty.
influenced by the Bible?
Yeah, have you watched it at all?
The show or the series?
Yeah, Sleepy
No,
Hollow.
I haven't watched the series. I'm familiar with the original novel.
The whole thing about the series is it's all about the Four Horsemen and the coming of the ending days.
I
No,
thought
it's
it was,
not cool.
I thought it was about like the headless horseman going after like a scared school teacher who was kind of pervy.
Yeah, that's what Sleepy Hollow's about. What the fuck he's talking about?
It's a series on. It's a TV.
Yeah, I know there's a TV. I just thought it was about the Headless Horseman too. Somehow, I thought they were like ghost hunters or something,
Ghost stories, shit.
like supernatural.
No, they're doing the whole Four Horsemen coming.
That's stupid.
The demon of purgatory is trying to come to Earth and trying to come out of purgatory.
It's just like you say that now. Like I imagine all the shit's going on in that show. Like they're all running from like the end of days, and there's a poor headless horseman on a bridge going, "What the fuck's going on?"
Where is everybody?
He's like waiting. I thought this show was about me. What the fuck's going on?
Gonna take my head and go home.
Would that be great if that's like the last episode?
That's how Earth ends.
There's just a headless horseman on a bridge, just looking sad somehow without a head. Shoulders are high up. I get it. Yeah.
Just he's hunched over.
Yeah, he's just
depressed.
hunched over. The horse looks really sad, and he's just like,
Sorry,
"Fuck it,"
Fido.
and he just like walks off screen. I guess it wasn't about me.
But there's been some cool stuff, with the whole Bible. Coming out of stuff from the Bible.
You
I thought was
can
fun.
interpret anything out of
Yeah,
the
I
Bible.
know you can make
really.
anything. Like, yeah.
Like Westboro Baptist
But
Church.
that's just it, though. That's just it. That's the whole point. Like the actual Bible is very like vague and boring, and genealogy's like 12 different people, and doesn't even like who cares about all these like guys? Do they matter? No. Like their great grandson did something later on. Okay. Then Jesus did some shit, and then apparently everything ends. Believe in God. But yeah, you can take anything like. Make it cool, like you could you could add to something like, all right, Jesus had laser guns, and He's from the future and he got sent back in time. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I would read that novel. That'd be bitchin'.
Yeah, you can add to anything and make it cool. It doesn't mean it's cool.
So it's like it's cool post or pre adding stuff to it?
Pre.
Because you said you can add stuff to it to make it cool, but it doesn't make it cool, and I got confused because I didn't know if you meant like prior to adding the stuff to it.
Yeah.
Because like just because you add
if
stuff,
you add
make it cool,
stuff to it, it makes it
doesn't
cool.
make it cool. Like I think what you just said does in fact mean it makes it cool because you're like I added this to it, now it's cool.
No, because the original
but it's still not that cool.
You could add to it and be like, you could just go on this rant.
Cool.
You can go on this whole rant and be like, yeah, no, all this shit happened. Like, where did you get that from? The Bible. And then they read it and they're like, what
This
the
wasn't
fuck?
in here.
This wasn't cool at all.
You got me again, Mormon.
Oh man, I went on a whole rant. I went like watch like a whole bunch of Mormon propaganda shit the other night. It's fucking cold, man. It's so fucking cold. I don't even know it.
I think a few of them do. They're just too scared for their lives to leave.
For somebody who like briefly went through that stuff just to get laid.
That's commitment right there, ladies and
It was.
gentlemen.
The stuff you learn in that and just the, oh my god, how...
The salamander.
Yeah. They don't talk about that shit. That's the thing. They don't like to talk about bad shit. They want to put the good shit in front. It's just bleh. Let's talk about movies.
I'm good with that. I finally watched that trailer for the Justice League Atlantis movie or whatever. That's
been out for like a few months.
Which I just haven't really. I'm behind on my trailers.
Watched it.
I'm behind on all my trailers.
It's all about Aquaman. Woo.
Fuck yeah, it's about Aquaman. But like,
It's like
I'm excited.
No one saw my hand gesture, but I was gesturing like jerking off.
Which means he's excited.
No.
It's a good thing, and I think he might be sexually attracted to Aquaman now.
No,
Or just
I'm saying
fish
that
in
someone have to
general.
jerk me off to get me excited about it. Show some kind of emotion.
Yeah, I'm not
Out of the
good with
trident wielding, fish talking fucking Atlantean.
that. I am not touching you, Jason.
You know, I'm not asking you to.
I think he was making a pass at me, Brent. What do you say?
I don't know, maybe.
I think he was
Reading
giving
way
me
too
that
much
eye.
into that.
And he was like, hey, Aqua Boy. And I was like,
Who's Aquaboy?
hey. Oh, apparently me in the scenario. You're like, I'm going to
I
fuck
think
the
you're
fish
fan-
scales
I-
off your face. And I was like, whoa. I don't even have fish scales.
We
Put
just
these on.
Didn't we just have a whole rant about making something cooler? When it really wasn't that cool to begin with. That's exactly what you're doing.
See, you think an Aquaman porno would be awesome?
I'm saying it would be more interesting than actual Aquaman.
I don't know if it'd be more interesting.
You watch that porno and you're like, wow, that chick is hot.
I
You go back to the source material and you're like, what the fuck?
They get done, his semen's just floating around.
Some fish eats it.
Brent pops out of the closet. Can I go home now?
No. No, don't go there.
He's not coming out. He's not coming out of the closet at all. What are you talking about? He's hiding that motherfucker.
Is that it? Just go fertilize the eggs and leave?
Him and Tom Cruise and John Travolta, they're all
We're all in
hovering
the
there.
closet!
No.
Hey, Brent.
Where are you at, Brent, in this scenario? You outside the closet or are you in the closet?
So say
I ain't nothing near the closet.
if I die, will you hold my hand?
He'd probably go to the funeral.
Oh, you a stick?
When you say stick,
Not that stick.
rats. Ruin my whole Friday night, Brent. Why don't you?
Yeah.
I told that to my wife. I said, during your funeral, I'm going to bring a stick and poke you just to make sure you're dead.
Me or your wife?
Told my wife I was going to do that to her.
Oh,
She's...
when she's dead?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of morbid. You're like, when you die, baby, here's what I'm gonna
Don't
do.
you dare! It's
Not-
just horrible.
It's like you've already predetermined. Hey, baby, you're gonna die way before I do.
That's actually a really good counter argument. And like, when you die, honey, at your funeral, I'm gonna poke you with a stick. Don't fucking do that. That's fucking weird. Well, either let me poke you with a stick in life, or I'm gonna do it in death. Your call. Stop being so prude and open your legs.
Only parrot would take it there.
No, I was
He was going there too.
Wait, I was like, wait a minute, look who I'm talking to.
Yeah, telling someone who's listening to an audio recording, look who you're talking to.
Well, look, he's talking to.
Oh, I get it now. I get it.
Yeah,
I've caught up. I have caught up with the scenario currently.
What'd you think of your Aquaman trailer?
I was excited. I'm excited about it. I think it looks awesome.
Mm.
It was only like a minute long, but
Yeah. You don't really want to waste that much advertising time on Aquaman.
No, fuck you, dude. Just
I don't think even DC has as much faith in Aquaman anymore.
Well, like the last joke they have in the fucking trailer, I guess it's a joke. He's like, "What should we call him? Aquaman." I do not like that. Great, we're gonna call him Aquaman.
You know, like
Aquaman himself's like, "Fuck that! Don't call me Aquaman." And
you know what makes me say that about
Aquaman.
like DC and their faith in Aquaman is like every robot chicken special at DC, because that's DC's involved in the robot chicken, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do all these jokes about Aquaman. They're like, okay. They don't like stop and go, nah, wait.
You can't do that with Batman.
Yeah,
that
that's where it comes up. Batman.
Aquaman, yeah, put him in the fucking desert. That's a good one. Fuck you, DC. Aquaman is a national treasure to Atlantis.
No, it's not.
He's the king, motherfucker.
And they're all like, die, you dumb gay bastard.
He's not gay.
He's not gay. He's got a wife, hot wife, and kid.
Fucking, yeah, motherfucker.
I don't know shit about when it comes to Aquaman.
When Flashpoint, he was banging Wonder Woman.
That was the only
that
time
was what caused
I
the
really
war.
Oh yeah, because he couldn't keep in his pants.
He fucked Wonder Woman, and his wife got pissed, and Wonder Woman killed his fucking wife, and he's like,
I think like
I want to
Aquaman.
fuck you, but I have to now
Like
kill you.
when I watched that on Flashpoint, like when the Atlanteans is coming up out of the water to meet the Amazonians, I think like when they show Aquaman for the first time seeing Wonder Woman, I think he's like the first thought is like in his head he's like, shit, the one day I brought my wife with me.
This is the surface world, honey. Why don't you go below the deck?
Yeah.
And
Oh, well, I'll take care of this. That's like the first thing I think.
Have you met my pet swordfish? I call him Arthur Jr. By swordfish, I mean
That was the
penis,
first
man.
time.
Arthur?
Arthur. Yeah,
Why Arthur?
because his name is Arthur Curry.
Oh,
his
is it?
human name when he was raised by the lighthouse keeper, they called him.
I was like,
Arthur.
what a weird name. Like, what a pathetic name to name your penis.
Well, if you think about it, you could also look at like, well, you know, King Arthur and his sword is Excalibur. So,
Yeah, ooh.
yeah. Just pull the sword from the stone.
Flashpoint was the only time I've ever seen anything with Aquaman that I thought he was actually good.
Justice
I
League,
like
Justice
that.
League Unlimited. He was a badass in those.
Didn't like it.
Well, fuck you,
It
dude.
was like 2 episodes.
Yeah, more than
Yeah.
2 episodes. But when he was there, he was an asshole.
What are you talking about? He was only in ever 2 episodes.
He wasn't.
And in the series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in there more than that.
What other episodes?
He was in the one with Solomon Grundy where they had to go do all that shit. He was in there when he came up to the surface world and they tried to
That was the
assassinate
same
him.
one.
No, those are 2 different episodes. And he was
Okay,
in
it was a 2-parter.
No,
Yes.
the assassination one was a 2-parter, and then him and Dr. Fate and Solomon Grundy were trying to steal the portal, and they had a call back Hot Girl.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then he also had the one with like the Ultiman and stuff.
So what, 4 episodes?
4 or 5, but he was still there.
Out of like a 7-year series?
Something like that, but it was still a lot.
he was never in it.
He was too. He was there, motherfucker.
Like fucking 3 or 4 episodes.
He was fucking there.
Yeah, he was there, but does
Sorry, I forgot the whole fucking series revolved around fucking Batman.
It did.
It fucking did. They made a whole fucking episode
and it
about
was a
fucking
great series.
about fucking Batman Beyond epilogue because they didn't even do that with Batman Beyond. I was like, fucking Batman. This is why I hate fucking Batman. Because it's all fucking about Batman. I'm like, Fuck that bad
What else does
motherfucker.
DC really have that's like,
Superman.
wow?
Superman,
I like the Flash and
Wonder Woman.
Green Arrow is really good.
Green Arrow's the series.
I will
That's
give-
not bad. The
I
Flash
didn't
is-
care for
really
much of
good,
the
yeah.
comic book or any of that of it, but the new series of the Flash and Green Arrow I have liked. But before that,
Yeah.
Green Lantern.
somebody
could've
said
been
the
good.
Green Arrow, I'd be like, really?
Yeah,
Who gives
Green-
a shit about the Green Arrow?
I do.
He's not terrible.
No,
He's
man.
like a really cocky Batman.
Essentially, yeah. Not as skilled hand-to-hand combat-wise as Batman, but he's very smart.
He's not that smart.
He's
I was gonna say he's not that. He's not gonna walk into a room and know what
he's
the
not
fuck
on
happened.
he's not on par with Batman.
No,
I'm
he's
not saying
No,
that.
no, by no means.
But he's
He can be tricked up,
yeah. He's still really.
but he's more
efficient.
relaxed.
He's not
Like he's not
as brooding.
like Batman will see Catwoman and be like, "Well, we're equal. I think you're attractive, but I have to put you in jail."
I can't
Yeah,
fucking.
like
Green Arrow would be
Green
like
Arrow meets what Black Canary. I'm gonna bang her.
and have her child.
Yeah,
And then I'm
That's-
gonna get a sidekick addicted to meth.
DC's got a lot of wow characters.
Yeah, they got a lot.
Superman's
of
the
characters.
biggest one.
See, I don't like Superman. I think
Superman's
the whole thing
recognized-
was fucking retarded.
Superman's recognized the world over. Like you don't even have to be a comic book person. Say Superman, they know who you're fucking talking about. That's automatically like international.
See, I'm not a Superman fan.
You don't have to be a Superman fan. You just have to recognize you said who they have as wow. If I can go to like China and not even speak language and hold up the Superman, they're like,
Oh, Superman!
Superman.
That was a horrible racist impersonation I did there.
It's probably what it would sound like though. But
I don't know. I've never been to China. And if I do,
they probably would. They would know who Superman was. So yeah,
But I'm saying like versus Marvel.
Well,
Marvel actually doesn't.
No, they really don't. Like
More recently they
maybe
do.
like,
But even like before the Avengers came out, no one even knew what the fuck that was.
they might have known of like Captain America
Yeah.
and the Hulk.
See, to
maybe.
me, I grew up with more Marvel, I guess, base.
Like no one knew who Iron Man was until the movie came out.
I knew Iron Man long
Well,
before.
I know you did, but now I'm saying like
The average, you gotta think about the average person who's like,
non-comic book
doesn't
reading
really
fan.
just go, ooh, the new Thor's out or whatever.
Not gonna pick up a magazine and go, Iron Man.
Oh, sweet.
Before Robert Downey Jr. Now he's a lot more recognizable. That's a good movie, but before that, like no one gave a shit about Iron Man.
No one gave a shit about Thor unless you were talking about.
No one gave a shit about Thor.
Thor was just dumb.
I didn't even know how they were gonna do a Thor movie.
Still waiting on that actually. Sorry, Chris Hemsworth, you're a sexy son of a bitch, but those two Thor movies were not that great. May I have another? Can I have the first one, please?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean that fucking.
there's a lot of
joke.
trailers.
See, I didn't mind the first one. I thought it was okay, but it was kind of like I felt the same way. I put
There's
that in the
nothing
same
there.
category as Captain America. It was all right, but again, it was like, here's these plot points, hit them and get to this point.
Yeah.
Rush through, get here. There was no.
Well, I don't know if you can really say the same thing about like you can't. Captain America, the first one, and Thor, the first one, aren't really
Well,
on
they're
the
both
same.
fish out of water stories.
But they're not really on the same level. Whereas like
No.
Thor is just a spoiled little brat who
Yeah.
like, gets his shit taken away and throws a tantrum, and then miraculously within like 2 days, like I know how to be a hero
well.
now. Or
No,
whatever.
no, no.
Captain-
That's not what happened. He's like, I want to bang Natalie Portman. I'll fucking protect this world. That's what changed his mind.
Same difference.
What's-
Captain America, he was always the underdog who was just trying to be a better person.
That was a better movie.
I liked it, but like I said, it was really rushed. There could have been a lot more to it, and it was.
I agree. The
and
ending,
last-
I didn't like the ending of Captain America.
The last third of it, the last act
Yeah,
of
it
it,
was-
is where it dropped the ball. Like up until like the
I
montage.
still think that
It was
the
really good.
do you think the thing that would have made Captain America a lot better movie is if they would have had Red Skull have some underlings to fight, because that was really what they were lacking. That montage part where they were just knocking out Hydra's stuff, that could have been like a whole fight scene with somebody else. And it wasn't like there wasn't foes for him to fight. Even like Red Skull thing. I mean, even video game, because they had to have like mid boss characters. And that's really, I think that would have held it up a lot more.
Yeah, but they were on like time constraints. And I'm like, well, they had.
I think I didn't think it was that bad. I would have probably sat there for 30 more minutes.
Yeah, probably. They're
easily.
If I had my way, I would have had him go through like 2 movies before he came to the present day. But I'm
totally with Kat on that. I think it should have been at least 2 movies. There was plenty of stuff there.
Yeah, but you have to look at like their time frame. They have to get to the Avengers, and Captain America is like so associated.
And that's
with
what it comes down to. Oh, we want to do Avengers. Throw this movie out. Get this point. Get me a movie now.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. Same with Thor. It was, we want to this point. Here's these plot points. Get through it. Get us a movie. We want Avengers.
Yeah.
There was no.
I'm just saying.
We want a good movie. It was no. Just get us a movie.
I don't think the first.
Or a bad movie.
I don't think the first Cap was that bad up until the third act.
Yeah, I don't even think Thor was that horrible a movie. It was.
I think Thor was horrible. I do.
By far, it was the weakest Marvel movie they'd had from that time period. But
I guess that's more why I give the first one. The second Thor. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking either.
It had charming parts to it, but
you can tell when they actually have time. Look at Captain America: Winter Soldier.
That's not a bad movie.
That's a tighter movie. That's a really good movie, but I don't know.
They had time. They made a damn good movie.
I don't know if it's really time, because what you're talking about is just a moment where the audience can breathe, where nothing's really happening. There's just a lot of dialogue. That's what you're talking about.
It gives you time to set in.
Yeah.
And take.
Thor had way too much of that in the first movie, and Cap really didn't have that at all. It was all like.
It had nice intervals.
Yeah, it had nice intervals.
But
that's what you're talking about. Cap, the Winter Soldier had like they're in the car talking, and then when there was lots of relaxed moments where like he was running and shit and. But it had really good action scenes too, and it had.
There was always something propelling the movie along. There was never that stagnant moment, which you got back in like Thor 1 and Thor 2 even.
Yeah. That's what you're talking about. It wasn't a breathing moment for the audience to go, oh, okay, everything's okay right now.
I just felt like like I said, both those first 2 movies, I felt like it was just slap something together, get it out so we can get to Avengers. It wasn't any thought put into.
Oh yeah.
It was, we need these plot points, hit them so we can get Avengers. That was all I felt like.
Yeah, it was essentially.
That was the big movie everyone wanted to see. Everything else they just like, we need to get these characters.
And they really did a good job with it too. Avengers was a great movie.
Yeah, how it should have ended. Going to be like, well, this is how you should have done it. Like,
yeah, I know. That's what that was hilarious.
It's like, hello, we can't hear you behind all this money.
How it should have ended. Ishay.
Good stuff.
What was the newest one they had? That made me laugh too.
Guardians of the Galaxy, I think. They had like
they did.
They had numerous endings to it, and they're like the ones like he was like. We're doing a dance off. Okay, and he blows up the fucking planet.
I did not like that movie as much as everybody else did.
I enjoyed it.
I know.
I thoroughly did.
Everybody said it was fun. I didn't get that.
See, I'll probably buy the movie.
I might.
I probably not. Won't.
I might eventually. I don't know if I'll buy it like when it comes out.
I probably won't.
I can understand like people's.
There was parts of it I liked, but it was just.
For it, I guess, or like because like it's essentially, if you look at the plot of the movie, it's he's going to destroy the worlds and the universe with this fucking gem or whatever. Right. And it's just kind of like, okay, we'll go get it. So it's like, there's no urgency to it. But if you look at
I guess that's what I was.
If you look at like the actual like what's going on in the events of the movie, it's a big fucking threat. But you don't ever have that sense of, oh no. Are they gonna make it? And it's just, you know they're fucking gonna make it. You know, like what I think would have been an awesome ending. He just kills everybody.
That would have been more.
I would have been like, "Fuck! I did not see that going. Fucking coming. Just fucking." Or like the very end, like they beat Ronan.
Like if they
and,
failed.
Yeah, like or you know, like, they beat Ronan and they're like, oh yeah, and then Thanos just comes out of nowhere like that is mine, and he just takes it and he just kills everybody. It's like, all right, you got me.
I honestly, I
coming
agree
that
with you
way.
100% because you never see that in a movie where the good guys fail, and it would have united them to be a team. So what a lame ass holding hand thing they had at the end of that one. I agree with you. If they had failed and that planet completely got destroyed, and the bad guy got away, and they're like, "Oh no,
Shit,
motherfucker! That we're not letting that shit happen again."
We gotta
Instead of them
do
just
something.
like in a cargo hold, and they're like, "Why should we team up?" And like the reason was like, "Cause we're losers," and I'm like,
That's not a good reason.
I guess that was my whole thing, and like, why should you guys team up? Like, I think like in like the Two Towers, the Lord of the Rings. If you ever watch the appendices on that or the behind the scenes, the writers talk about the point where they wrote themselves into a corner, where they had Sam and Frodo on one of the ledges, and Frodo and Sam's like, we have to go on, blah blah blah, we have to keep fighting, and Frodo's like, what are we fighting for? And the writer stopped and they're like, what the fuck are they fighting for? And then Sam, they wrote that whole line about Sam like saying like why they're fighting, and I was like, wow, that's a good fucking reason to keep going on, because it really was perilous. They had every right to go home. They didn't need to be there. They shouldn't have been there. And like when you get in like a situation where like they're in a cargo hold and we're losers, that's not a good reason to become a superhero team.
to prove like
Yeah.
we're not losers. We're like, no, you're still fucking losers.
Yeah.
Like, except for maybe Gamora, who's like the most.
I didn't even like how they all got together. They all got arrested.
In a prison. It's fucking.
Like in the same, they were like all coincidentally in the same spot, going after the same thing for different reasons.
And then they all just kind of like team up
And they
anyway
team
out of
up.
necessity,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. I just didn't like the. Yeah, I guess my problems with movies is I look at them too deeply, and people can be more relaxed and not give a
It's entertaining.
No.
Yeah, it's entertaining, and that doesn't entertain me. I need interesting stuff going on to entertain me. Like, wow, that makes me think. That entertains me.
I think what this movie did, if you stop and you look at it, you can be like, oh, okay, there's that problem, there's that problem, there's that problem. But like most of the characters, for me at least, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone else. For me, like they were so likable. It was a brilliant distraction from the perils of the actual what's going on in the movie.
See, to me, the whole comedy of the movie took.
Yeah, it was a great distraction.
You didn't pay attention to the stuff that didn't make that much sense because it was all funny as shit.
It was one of those movies where you're like, that was awesome. You stop thinking like, hey.
No,
You got me, Marvel.
I totally agree with you 100%. But for me, that doesn't distract me. I can go, ha ha ha. Why are you guys doing this? That was funny, but what the fuck's going on, guys?
The reason behind that is you're Batman.
Yeah, I guess.
And you have that no
That's
bullshit
true.
filter.
I did do.
You're like, you guys are funny, but you have a serious fucking problem right now. There's an asshole who has a hammer that when it touches the ground, everything just goes away.
I mean, you go back to the original Star Wars, you have like Chewie fighting the droids on a checker match, and you're like, ha 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 ha. Okay, a planet just blew the fuck up.
You need to
You
do
can get your
something.
shit together. Game's on pause for now, motherfuckers.
The trailer for the Star Wars movie came out.
I guess we could talk about that.
Yeah. Nice segue. Thanks, Tad. You're welcome, buddy.
Stop thinking Tad.
Yeah,
It's weird and creepy.
I'm not that great, Brent. It's okay. Oh, why does the lightsaber have a saber hilt thing? Like, I saw that and I was like, wait a minute.
Why does it have a hilt?
Yeah.
Because J.J. Abrams is a fucking dick and doesn't realize how certain shit should work.
Well, I'm seeing that, and I'm thinking, like, what if your hand slips, you've now lost all your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, whoa, oh no, oh.
Well, it's kind of far. If you look at it, it's kind of far apart. So you'd have to like be dropping it to have that happen.
Well, you're holding like this, and like someone uses the forces, and it's like
because there's a gap. It wouldn't happen. There
That's
is a gap. There is like
I just don't see.
there's
the
a
point.
space. Right.
Like,
There is no point to it.
just like
There's absolutely no function to that whatsoever.
Does it's like if
Now someone
like,
told. Now I heard an interesting theory that that's actually not a lightsaber, and if you look at it, it's very stagnatic when it turns on. That it's probably not being powered by a crystal thing. It's probably being powered by something else, and those are probably event ports off to the side.
Huh.
I heard that, and I thought that was interesting. That makes the most sense, because if you're actually going off actual lightsaber design and how functionality, the hilt should be facing upwards, because you'd have to have 4 or 3 crystals to power the 2 little vents, and then it would just be pointless, because then it could just be as long as the blade itself, and you'd have like what are those? What does Aquaman have?
A trident?
Yeah, you'd have like a trident lightsaber.
Oh, that'd be bitchin'.
At that point,
take that, Moby Dick.
just raping people. I'll fork you to death. But that makes sense, but I mean that kind of goes back to Star Trek for me, and like the bullshit stuff Abrams was trying to add to Star Trek when he's like, especially when he's talking about the new Enterprise, and he's like, you don't have red engines on a starship because red doesn't show up on film that well. You have to have blue because it's more stagnatic and pleasing for the viewer.
You sound like Ron Burgundy.
Fuck you. I might have.
Stay classy.
It pisses me off because that was the same excuse Bay had for why Optimus Prime couldn't be red. And he had to have like red flame because red doesn't show up that well on film. And blue.
So
and like all the horror movies got it wrong with the blood on the walls and fuck you. Red shows up just as fine. Even if it doesn't show up like it does in real life, it still can be identifiable as red. And it's just like those little touches. Like I'm really nervous. Like I think Nostalgia Critic said when he like said he saw the news. Everybody's like asking him what his opinion was in the Star Wars trailer, and he's like, "Eh." I agree with him. Eh.
Yeah.
They fixed the radar dish on the Millennium Falcon. That's the only thing I really noticed, and I was like, "Huh, it's square now instead of round." The old one got knocked off in Death Star.
Smart.
Yeah, thinking.
Why is everyone freaking out with the Black Storm?
I have no idea.
Brent? You just quiet.
I haven't watched any of the stuff.
People
on it.
are really,
I know
really
nothing.
fucking stupid when it comes to Star Wars, when it comes to Stormtroopers, because they automatically they watch the first couple Star Wars movies, they think they're all clones. But if you know anything about Star Wars, you know that they stopped using the cloning process about halfway through, and they had like in recruitments, and they did use other clones.
Didn't they like make clones like second-rate citizens and shit?
What do you mean?
Like you have your normal citizens, and then like everyone just kind of looked down on you if you were a clone, kind of thing. Like you were like a lower class of people.
No, they didn't clone people like en masse like that, because cloning was kind of a complicated process.
No, he's talking about they did it, and I know what he's talking about.
I didn't like the Battlefront games, so they talked about it.
No, and what was that called? The Cartoon Network series, Clone Wars.
Yeah.
They showed clones were second-rate citizens. They had their own bar. A clone couldn't go into a regular bar. Like back in the days when black people were treated.
They probably did, but I'm saying that they didn't. Those would have been the clones from the Clone Wars, but they didn't clone people on average. They had a lot of clones from after the Clone Wars, and they used them as stormtroopers for a long time, and those probably were second-rate citizens. But I'm saying they didn't just clone everybody. Like there wasn't like 50 of me walking around, because
that'd be horrible.
Why would they?
I mean,
why would they need that many Batmans? Yeah, because that'd be the worst thing ever.
Think how safe Gotham would be.
Gotham is tight. Wouldn't be no. Well, I'd have to take 8 years off every once in a while, so my girlfriend would die.
No, you just rotate out.
No, we'd all take it off. Because fuck it.
Welcome to the meeting of the Batmans. Raise your right arm. Hold out your boomerang. Batarang. Whatever.
Bow and arrow. Shoot maids.
What?
I'm just saying. Talking about The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, they did clone other people for the cloning process. I think they had like 3 other people that they end up cloning and added them into the stormtrooper ranks. But they did have recruitment too after a while to be stormtroopers. So anybody could be a stormtrooper. So it didn't matter if you're black or white. They didn't care. I don't know if you had to be humanoid. I don't know. That would be interesting if they had some like different species clones with like stormtrooper armor on. That'd be kind of interesting but I don't think anybody thought that far ahead because I've never seen them in the ranks like stormtrooper with like dreadlock. I don't know what that species is called, but they had the beach ball. They had the beach ball droid, which is everybody's like really confused because they're like, "Why did they turn R2 into a beach ball?" I'm like, I don't think that's R2. They think that's just another droid in the universe. It's not R2. It's just an R2 unit. They have several different types of R2 units. Why it's ball, I don't know. Magnets.
How do they work?
How do they work? Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
There's nothing really shown in the trailer, and everybody kind of freaked out the Millennium Falcon. Like, oh my god, what? I'm like, yeah, if you'd been following it, you know the Millennium Falcon was going to be in it because I've seen them building the set, and Kevin Smith talked about walking on it.
They even showed their little messing with Batman. They put the Batmobile there.
Huh?
Did you not see? You showed me that.
Messing with Batman.
They were. Batman put little insignias did little stuff towards Star Wars, and Star Wars did little stuff. And the bottom, in like a hatch or something, they did a deal that looked like the Batmobile in it.
I did not show that to you.
No idea what you were speaking of, sir.
Who's messing with who?
The film people were just
Studios.
Doing little stupid things.
So they're messing with the Man of Steel versus Batman movie?
It started out with Dark Knight, stuff like that. The Dark Knight started doing a few things. There's a few little things in Dark Knight, and they went on and showed those. And then in Dark Knight Rises...
For Star Wars or Star Trek? Because he hadn't started Star Wars yet at this time.
Star Wars. They did little... I think it was 4 little things in there they showed on this. I seen it on Facebook. I know it was a Facebook clip.
And therefore it must be true.
And showing it, and then they were showing things, and Dark Knight Rises did a lot of, I guess there's a lot of little things they were, joking with and different stuff. Not much of it actually made it on the film, but they did little funny stuff.
To mess with Star Wars?
On Star Wars, and Star Wars did their clip of, they had the Millennium Falcon stuff, and they showed they had the Batmobile was on there, and it was upside down, and it was like on the Millennium Falcon.
Because Disney didn't even purchase the rights to Star Wars when they were making The Dark Knight Rises, so that there's no way that they could have...
Disney made Dark Knight Rises?
Disney and Marvel
Disney isn't making...
I am so confused right
Disney
now.
and... Like I said, they were doing the whatever.
The
I've seen it.
Warner Brothers is doing that, but
then how would they have like Star Wars stuff on there if they don't have any rights to it?
They wouldn't. I don't know what he's
talking about. It wasn't
about.
Actual...
You're saying like paying homage to them?
It was kind of something like that. They were messing with each other, doing
but
this.
But they didn't know that... That's what I'm saying, like, they didn't know... Nobody... When they were making The Dark Knight Rises, nobody knew that...
Well, they didn't know that Star Wars was going to do anything to retaliate, when they...
But there was no Star Wars. That's what I'm saying.
They didn't... They were just doing it to mess with them. I thought they were being funny. They showed clips of, like, Batman was fighting a stormtrooper. and stuff like that. And
well, I mean, people make jokes like that all the time, though.
one of the scenes, I guess, they had somebody in there with like a lightsaber or something, and they showed it's there, but you don't pay attention to it. And
now, was the stormtrooper have a boom mic that he lowered to?
and then when they
No?
announced the whole Star Wars stuff and that, and they did the announce of the Millennium Falcon, because you sent me the one where they announced the Millennium Falcon and everything else. The new Millennium Falcon. And it was shortly after that, I swear it's a video you posted.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have to go back and find it now.
I would assume so. I am lost.
Yeah, because...
Well, there's something else. I was going to ask... I know he watched it, I'm pretty sure. The first one. What do you guys think of the first remake of Planet of the Apes and starting over?
Like with the Andy Serkis stuff?
Well, I know now they have the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So the one with James Franco?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I didn't watch the new one yet.
I want
Yeah.
to.
No.
I'm going to run that
It didn't look... I mean...
People said it was really, really good.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's really, really good, but I just wasn't in the mood, I guess. I just figured it would be one of those things I catch.
Yeah, I want to go see it when in theaters, but
it's not like I'm objected to it. Like if I watch it, I'm not gonna not watch it, but I'm not seeking it. I guess that's a good way to put it. Like I'm not actively excited to go watch it, I guess.
I guess I have a hard time because I've seen so much. Constantly had to watch Planet of the Apes. Both my brothers really liked the originals and constantly.
So I think that's what it really comes down to. I never really liked the original Planet of the Apes, and when they redid it the first time with Marky Mark, I fucking didn't like that movie at all. And
yeah,
the one with Andy Serkis I thought was really good, but it wasn't really anything to it. It just kind of reminded me of like Project X with what's his
Meg
face?
Ryan and Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick, yeah. They reminded me of that, and I guess I'm just like, I don't care if a bunch of chimps fight, because it's not like they're not really Planet of the Apes, in my opinion yet. Like they could have called this anything else, like based on Planet of the Apes or something like that. But it really they're not man apes yet. You know, like they're just still apes and chimps and stuff like that. Even though they're kind of walking upright and shit and talking, it's still not Planet of the Apes to me yet. So I don't know. It's in this weird gray area, like I'm not.
Most people...
It's not bad. It's really good. It's well told. It's just like, eh.
I like it. I liked when I watched it. I was like, oh, that's a new view on it. I kind of like that. That was cool.
I think it's weird that they're actually trying to connect it with the original film, though.
What?
Yeah, you didn't pick that up.
No, but I only...
Like with the one with James Franco.
Uh-huh.
Like if you look on the TV, they're actually sending Charlton Heston and stuff, the astronauts, into space and shit. It's like,
that's pretty cool.
It's all on the TV. Like they're talking about Charlton Heston's character. They name him on TV, and they're like, he's going on a blah 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 8-year mission and blah 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 blah. And so they're sending them into space as the shit's going down. So whenever
I guess I didn't catch that either.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people didn't. But whenever they get back, it's going to be hundreds of thousands of years later.
And then,
so that's where the first movies will actually connect with the new movies, yeah. So if you wanted to, you could actually have a fucking weird-ass fucking Planet of the Apes marathon and watch the new stuff and then go and watch the original stuff. And it would make sense because they actually connect in some weird way.
I really like the first one. I seeing the previews for the second one, but still with the first one, I didn't go to theaters to see it because, again, Planet of the Apes has been so far...
It's really good, and I really thought Andy Serkis should have got like a not Oscar nod. And I think he got kind of robbed on that because they said that CGI doesn't count, but
he gets robbed a lot though.
He does. he's a really good actor, and he really did a good job in Planet of the Apes. Hell, he did a good job as Gollum in the new Hobbit movies too. And he's gonna be in Star Wars somehow, so look forward to that too. But again, JJ ruined Star Trek for me. I'm kind of worried about Star Wars now. I know nothing
about this new Star Wars stuff, so
I don't get how everybody puts JJ on such a pedestal of like he's the next Spielberg and all this jazz. I don't see it because all he does is copy Spielberg in a lot of ways, but he's not original enough in any way. Where Spielberg was doing shit nobody have ever seen before, and it was original. See, I wouldn't put JJ up on. I put Joss Whedon up on that pedestal. I would say he's like the next fucking Spielberg. Because he does do stuff that nobody does. He really puts women in the foreground. He, made Firefly. Fuck. That's original. Like, he does original shit. JJ doesn't do anything. He does, like, you watch his shit and you're like, oh, that looks just like Spielberg's old shit. Yeah. I can do that. It's not nothing, like, I don't get why you think JJ is that impressive?
I don't think he's bad. Like,
I don't think I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but like
I know I see what you're saying about him being unoriginal. I guess I don't know. Maybe you could look at like he's a very good trickster kind of thing. Like he makes you feel the emotions you would have gotten from Spielberg, but he does it in such a way where it's like this isn't something that's like, oh man, I just thought it was a brilliant fucking thing to do. You know that's not what happened, but because it's so similar to Spielberg, but it's like they're really pushing his name on the foreground for that. You're now associating it with him. So
I think people were doing that anyway, and I just don't see it. Like, I guess that's what the thing is.
I think that's what it is, and that's why people give him so much. Because if you go from saying, "Oh, Spielberg does all this stuff so great," and then you go and you change out Spielberg for J.J. Abrams.
When you say it like that, like when you're saying like, "Oh, he's so much like Spielberg," and I'm like, yeah, I guess I see that. Like, but that's not positive in my mind. Like, it's not like.
No, I'm not saying it is, but then they start. But over time, they drop to Spielberg and they just start crediting all these things to J.J. Abrams. So now they all have this predisposition towards this guy that he has all these tricks. They're not his, but we've now been tricked and manipulated into believing that he has all these abilities, which. I'm not saying he's bad. He doesn't have ability, or even he's a bad guy or a bad director. He's not very original. Like
that's what I'm saying.
What was the one movie he's done where it's not a remake? Super 8.
Yeah.
And it was a really good movie. It's very basic.
It is very basic.
But it's a very good movie.
It's entertaining.
What else he did? Cloverfield.
Did he direct? He didn't direct Cloverfield. He produced it.
He was a big part of it.
Yeah,
but again, it's very basic.
Cloverfield. I don't even know if I think
Cloverfield's the one with the. You have.
Yeah, it's found footage, monsters everywhere.
Yeah, Godzilla, alien monster.
Yeah, just very basic.
The apartment building was tipped over, and they had to go rescue the girlfriend. And...
He does very basic, very easy films. I didn't
watch that.
Really? Holy shit, Brent.
I never had any interest in that movie. It didn't even.
That's not bad.
Didn't even. Nothing. It just sounded dumb as hell to me.
What he does is he does very basic, very easy films, or he does remakes people can associate themselves with. And because it's so basic and easy, you can sit there and just be like, "Oh, pretty colors."
Well, yeah, man, this is.
It's ingenious, really, because now he's gonna get all this fame. And I'm not saying he doesn't do anything. But I don't know if he puts as much effort as like Joss Whedon would put into it, or.
Well, no, I mean I'll give him some credit because like right now I've heard that Kevin Smith went on the tour of the studio, and Kevin Smith's like he's building sets, he's building ships, No, a lot of it's not going to be CGI. A lot of it's going to be practical. There's costumes and puppets and.
Well, he's always been more about the practical. But most of the time when he can't do practical, because the studio's like, no, like with Star Trek, like he wanted to like do a bunch of like practical effects, and like no, you need to do a lot of CGI because it's cheaper.
I just don't like in Star Trek. I don't like the story, and I don't like the design. The characters, I thought was good. A lot of people did great. The guy that played
you
Bones.
got to give the guy still props on the fact he went back to
Carl Urban.
He went to something you're used to, and he didn't completely screw it up.
He did.
And I don't know if people liked it.
No, he did. People liked it, but no, he screwed. I don't get that. Like, for a non-Star Trek fan, yeah, that's a great movie. I'll admit that to 100%. But if you like Star Trek, especially the original Star Trek, that movie's a piece of shit. That is not faithful at all. Like, the whole point of Star Trek is exploring and going to other planets and stuff like that. In both Star Trek movies, the focus has been on Earth. There's no exploration.
Yeah. They go to Vulcan, and then they come back. And then they go to...
and if you even... I mean, you can make the argument in the second one, well, they went to that one alien planet to save him from the volcano. Yeah, for like 10 fucking minutes.
Just to open the show to make you realize how incompetent Kirk is. And then he gets to be captain, like,
yeah, in the first movie, we go Earth, Vulcan...
Back to Earth.
Snow planet.
Oh, yeah. Snow planet.
Earth. Like, spend 5-10 minutes on Snow Planet, not really doing anything but running for monsters, which was never in Star Trek, and then go back to Earth. Second Star Trek movie, we go from...
To Klingon?
Well, we start on Earth. So it starts on Earth, go to, like, some weird alien planet.
Well, actually, it starts on the weird alien planet, then it goes back to Earth.
No, it started on Earth. Because they had that thing with
But with the bomb. I'm talking about, like, the actual Enterprise. Like,
no, I'm talking about just the movie.
Okay. So, yeah, the movie was...
We start on Earth.
Where you're at. Okay.
I did that with the first movie, too. We started on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm following you now.
Yeah. So we start on Earth, we go to some weird alien planet, we go back to Earth, go to Klingon.
Technically, we started in space in the first movie.
Yeah, I guess. We did start in space.
Sorry, continue.
Planet what? Yeah, then we go back to Earth. That's not good Star Trek. No. That's not even a good show. You know how many times we went to Earth in the actual show? No, it wasn't zero. We went to Earth a couple times.
A few times. But it was...
Like maybe sometimes a time traveling
plot.
But
I didn't watch it like...
The thing I wish they'd done more was... For me, I can't speak for many other people, but for like Star Trek, for me, it was always about the journey of getting somewhere. Like when they were going to go to Romulus to do whatever it is they were fucking doing there for when Spock went there. Like a lot of it was
about when that whole
that two-parter or whatever.
That two-parter, yeah.
Like a lot of it was about the journey on the Klingon ship going there and like seeing the culture. Like it was like a lot of times about the journey, or like when Troy got kidnapped and turned to like the Romulan to bring those people back. It was the journey coming back, or like
a lot of Romulans.
I'm probably a lot of Romulans in there. Or what was the?
Was it Romulan too?
No, it wasn't. Well, I think they might have been Romulans in this one too. When they went into the demilitarized zone. For the ancient civilization that was on that one planet.
In Generations?
Yeah, do you remember that episode? Like,
or was that the one where Picard got kidnapped?
I don't remember. I think him and Data went down to like this giant like.
No, it wasn't that one then, because the one I'm talking about had like Picard got kidnapped. And he got tortured.
Oh, that was by the Cardassians.
Cardassians, yeah.
How many lights do you see?
Yeah.
Those were really good
episodes. 3 lights! Fuck you!
See, you guys talking Romulan, I don't even know what the hell I know the Klingons, the...
Vulcans.
No.
You see what you did with your youth? You just neglected yourself a really good... show.
To be fair, I didn't watch it till I got older, so.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the age.
I know
it's
he
about
said-
Because you were just asking me like what day, like what's something good to watch.
They were always in the
Star
black.
Trek iteration.
They were always in the black and. I can't think
The
of it.
black?
Every time I see it, I can't think of the name.
Do they have pointy ears?
I don't remember that much about
It's
them.
probably Klingons.
No, there's Klingon something else. Or
Because Klingon got the ridges.
There was in the black?
Card-
like
Did they
Kardashian.
Kardashians? They had like
They're gray.
they had like the spoon head thing going on. Gray.
Yeah.
Those are Kardashians. Romulans had those giant shoulder pads going on.
But I don't even. He's talking like there's like what 4 different Star Trek shows. I don't even know what the fuck which one he's talking about. He could be talking about something from Voyager.
Oh
Yeah.
That's
like
mostly
the
the
Delta
original.
There were
Quadrant.
so many aliens that
Yeah, I
you never
know.
see it fucking again, except for Borg.
The Borg?
The Borg. Ah,
Yeah, the
the
black.
Borg.
That
Yeah.
must have been it.
That's the other one, the Borg. That's it.
They
That's
span all over
about
the
the
fucking place.
extent of my
Star Trek.
Star Trek knowledge.
The Borg were awesome villains. I don't even think I don't feel like the Borg were really bad.
I feel like I'm the
guys.
only one here that actually likes the original Star Trek. Captain Kirk and Spock.
I've seen
They were a lot of good
maybe
episodes.
4 or 5 episodes of that.
Like they're
I'd sit and veg out and watch Star Trek, the original. Like, I watched that before Generations came on TV, like when I was little. So I was a geek even back then.
And
not
see,
much
I
has
had
changed.
family members that watched
No.
Star Trek. That was boring as hell to me. I'd off go do something about that.
That's because you have a short attention span.
Star Trek just never.
That's why
Which,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
uh,
Is your game. It's like 5 turns. I win.
Which, so I remember when I was a little kid and I would play with toys, I'd have like epic adventures with my toys.
Yeah.
And I'd have them like playing parts that weren't even their original actual storyline. Like Ninja Turtles were fucking coordinating with Ghostbusters on some epic adventure, and I would replay adventures over again and change stuff up just to make something, because I thought of something and I made the whole adventure different and interesting. So I would replay adventures over again. I think that's why I'm a good writer now. Brent loved G.I. Joes and had a shit ton of G.I. Joes. And I'm always like, how did Brent play with toys back in the day? Because I can't imagine Brent sitting down on his bed and having some epic battle. He could have, but his attention span is so low. I can't imagine you doing that. Like,
I used to sit there. I'd have battle. Do all different.
really?
I had enough G.I. Joes. I could in my basement. I'd have 3 or 4 different rooms
I know.
set up with different battle zones, and it'd be different. They were all their own little groups, so they all had their own little
Did
battles.
the bad guys always win sometimes?
Mostly the bad guys won.
Did they?
Going against the grain there, aren't you?
Yeah,
Go,
you're like-
Joe! Oh no!
I just noticed it recently. I was thinking about it. Even when I played with the He-Man stuff or G.I. Joes,
Did they ever intermix?
not very much, but most
Only
of the
during
time,
shower time.
most of the time,
By the power of Grayskull, what's in my ass? Sorry.
the bad guys always won when I played with stuff. And even watching shows and that, I started realizing I like villains more than I like the heroes. It's like you were talking about Batman, and you're like, I like Batman and everything. When you first started talking about Batman, you know what I remembered? Joker.
Yeah,
Joker was the always to me.
You can do a lot more when you're a villain. You don't have to
Yeah.
be so cut and dry.
I loved the Joker. He rocked.
Huh.
Star Wars, I
Empire.
like the Emperor. When I seen the Emperor, he was it. He was cool.
He terrified me for a second time. That was like sick.
I wasn't a big Darth Vader fan, but the Emperor was cool.
I saw this big old wrinkly dude in a
Really?
black hood, and I'm just like, oh,
And it's
fuck with
the
that
same.
guy.
Even when Final Fantasy VII came out, everybody else was like Cloud and Tifa, and I'm like, Sephiroth rocks.
And-
Forget them. Sephiroth was
No, I'm
that.
not enough to have a conversation.
You just go on a whole video game tangent. Different.
If you guys,
Tad-
if you
Tad
guys
does
talk about Final
nothing.
Fantasy from here on out, I'm just gonna play
Tad's
my
like,
phone.
we're like Final Fantasy and Christ, and I can't even think of other games. Metal Gear Solid and blah blah blah. And
Resident
Tad's like
Evil and
Kingdom Hearts, and Tad's like, I like Pokemon. Shut up, Tad.
this is the part where you're quiet.
Yeah.
I did just finish replaying through Mass Effect 2, and that game is fucking awesome.
That game is awesome.
That was
Mass Effect, even though I have never played the third game yet, I own it. I bought it. I never played it because I wanted to go back and play my second one over again so it'd get a really good ending for my third game. Even though I know it doesn't matter now, I know by this point everyone knows what happens in the third game at the end. I still want to set up those fucking tides to get like the best ending I could possibly get out of it. And I hadn't had time to go back and play Mass Effect because that's a commitment when you go play Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks that's what I've done every night before I went to bed.
It's like
I think it took me like 36 or 40.
See, I don't even have like when I guess that I'm so bad about that. Like I'll start playing a game and I'm like, geez, why is it so bright in here? The sun's coming up. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Well, that was me the first time I played the first Mass Effect game. I played through it in like 3 days, but I did it in like 14-hour sessions. And I was like, shit, I gotta go to work. And I get home and it's like, I need to go to bed.
Some people like ask me like how long a game is, and I don't even notice like, oh, like I beat it in 1 day. That's not me stopping and doing something else and coming back to it. That's me actually just playing through the whole 8 hours. If it's a really good game and it gets me interested, I'll just sit there and that's all I'll do. Like, I'm horrible about that. Like,
doesn't eat, doesn't drink.
I won't eat. Yeah, it's not even shit. Like, I might get up, get some water, or I might have something to drink handy, like nearby. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's bad. Like,
ain't got the time, man.
Really is. Again, the video games are bad for me. Like, really, really bad.
No, but like I was saying, I was.
Like, I love that PSP. Like, I played that.
Just started noticing. I was never the hero. Never like really cared for the hero. I was the villain.
Huh?
10 minutes.
10 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I was like, I must be one evil sucker because never was I like, oh, I want to be the hero. Even when I was little playing as kids,
it's more.
My
fun.
brothers and all of them all wanted to be the hero. I was the villain.
It's more fun to be the villain. Like
especially with Cobra, they got away with a lot of shit because a lot of times they just, if their plans didn't go through, they just took the fuck off. They're like, bye, suckers. Like, I don't remember too many off times like Cobra Commander getting kidnapped or getting captured by the enemy, and even if he did, he got away like next episode. And
see, in G.I. Joe, it wasn't Cobra Commander. God, now I can't think of his name.
Celestro or Calistro?
Yeah, you should be. That's.
I like Destro, but the other one, it was Cobra something.
Cobra Kai.
He wasn't even. He was like a second-rate fucking thing. He got demoted really fucking quick. Cause that was them. That was like them trying to like re-amp the G.I. Joes. Cause at first it was like the paint scheme was like green and black and military based, and as it progressed, it got bright colors and futuristic laser guns and spaceships
and then gems.
So at one point, somebody in the marketing department's like, "All right, Cobra Commander's way too fucking lame. We have to like make a new Cobra Commander." So they made up this fucking hybrid snake guy, and he had like a Cobra hood actually.
King Cobra?
No, it wasn't King Cobra, but he was so badass. Like, he actually got Cobra Commander like demoted, and he took over the whole thing for like not even a season. Like,
it was a season and a half.
Yeah, but it was so out. Like, the fans were like, "That's fucking bullshit." And they got like such a dive that they're like, "Okay, we gotta bring back Cobra." And then Cobra Commander came back, and he was just like, "No!" And he fucking just stomped that guy and took his fucking shit back, and it was so stupid. Like,
I like
Cobra Commander like got Snake, and he had to like wear the fucking thing.
I never cared for Cobra Commander. He was cool, but he was like a brash, in your face, I'm gonna kick your ass, and it would always take like 10 Joes to do anything.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. And then there's like that season and a half was all you ever seen of him, and it just ended.
Yeah, because the fans got pissed about it.
I didn't watch G.I. Joe.
I didn't. The only thing I liked when G.I. Joe, like...
I'll take that back. There was a hero in G.I. Joe I liked, and it's the only character they got right in the movie.
You didn't have to say anything. He's gonna be a badass.
And Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow were the only two, like... But again, I think I tend more to Storm Shadow than I did Snake Eyes.
That's the only thing that, like, fucked G.I. Joe in the end was they had a good thing going. They had ninjas. They just needed to implement pirates somehow. Then they would have been the strongest motherfucking franchise to this day. They had somehow integrated pirates. Somehow. They could have just worked it in there. Not just like whatever his name was. That Shipwreck, gay-looking fucking sailor they had. They just had fucking one badass fucking playset that was an old pirate ship somehow. That motherfucking show would have fucking lasted the time. I tell you. Ninjas and pirates, they could have had the whole thing going. Instead, they had the Sergeant Slaughter. Fucking bullshit.
Wasn't that a wrestler?
Yeah, he was a G.I. Joe.
It was originally G.I. Joe.
No, it was originally a wrestler.
And they put him into G.I. Joe?
I thought he was originally G.I. Joe.
No, he was originally a wrestler. And see how popular that was. See where the culture was. Like, they knew their fan base. And they're like, we need to turn the Sergeant Slaughter guy into a G.I. Joe. We need to turn him into a G.I. Joe immediately. And then he was on the show. Shit, you're a fucking wrestler.
Well, I know that G.I. Joe's introduced the Marauders, Sergeant Slaughter and his Marauders, and then all of a sudden on wrestling you had Slaughter and his Marauders.
He was there long before that.
I was like, really?
He was doing that like when he was starting to get popular. That's when they noticed like the whole American. They just marketing camp. They just saw an opportunity and they just took it.
Well, I know I'd seen him on Sergeant Slaughter on G.I. Joe's for a while, and then all of a sudden it was the Marauders, and I watched a little bit of the wrestling, and all of a sudden you see he had Marauders on wrestling, and it was like,
yeah, no, he was a wrestler. He's been a wrestler for a long time. So.
I didn't know which one
came
first, to be honest.
He was a wrestler.
But I didn't get wrestling.
Like I said, like, the thing I didn't get about G.I. Joe is like you'd see all these guys at these laser battles, and lasers just like fill up the screen with like red and blue fucking shots, and like nobody was getting hit. Nobody. You could walk in the middle of that fucking field and not fear anything, because I don't know what the fuck they were aiming at. It wasn't the enemy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was something I laughed at. Go back watching some of it. You see, it is like a X shot where green's going straight up at an angle, red's going straight up an angle. It's like going completely over each other's head. You're like, really?
Nobody's falling. I don't know how
they're making an X in the air
on
their shots. It's like not like toward the enemy. It's like in the air.
No one's getting hit.
This makes no sense.
I never did. I think that was my unappeal for G.I. Joe.
And there's some of those shows I went back and watched. Like I tried going back watching He-Man. I can't believe I ever watched that. This is some stupid crap.
I tried doing that too. He-Man was really dumb. I have no idea why I like that so much.
Yeah, I sat there. I made it through like.
What about the remake?
The remake was worse because they actually tried to remake it.
Oh.
See, the remake could have worked if it was like more brutal and they had nothing to do with the original show. But they even had like the PSAs at the end. Like they even did the PSAs at the end of every episode of the new one. I'm like, God, no, guys, no, that's not. The show sucked. The show sucked. Like when they remade Thundercats, that was fucking good.
I've watched those when
that
they were
was
like
fucking really good.
It started off really good.
Yeah, it ended kind of poor, but.
And see, I've only seen.
It was dark and gritty, and it was like, yeah. And they didn't have to leave the planet for any fucking stupid reason. And they kept it all on there, and that was yes.
The last thing I seen, I don't know if they actually found any more. The thing in the sky fell, and that's
They ended that. They closed the whole series. He fought Mumra at the end and killed him. And
I haven't seen anything past that.
he got like all fucking lion armor, like the whole gauntlet turned into a whole armor thing, and it was dumb.
I didn't even see those. Last one I saw was like 2 or 3 episodes all about the kittens.
I wouldn't say it was dumb. I wouldn't say it was dumb. It was better than the original.
And see, I seen the lion armor, but that wasn't the end. He beat Mumra, but that was like they showed an ancient fight, how they ended up there. His ancestor beat Mumra, and
he unlocked it in the end and did the same thing, and he ended up beating him. And then the show got canceled, so they just ended it there, basically, because there was no more appeal. But, yeah, I like the idea of going back. That if you're gonna remake it, that's how you do it.
And see, Cartoon Network had a huge following for it, and they just it ended. We're gonna end it here and just stop it.
People just lost interest, basically.
Well, same thing with like Young Justice. They kind of just
That's another one.
But it's not necessarily the show's fault.
No, it wasn't.
It's the times when you put it on, like that. Like, that makes a huge difference.
That's what killed Firefly.
Yeah,
right
like
there
Firefly,
too.
like no one knew what the fuck was on. There was no advertising for it.
Like I watched Did you watch Erod's thing on that? There's a guy named Blockbuster Buster, and his name is Erod. He has a show on Blip or in Channel Awesome where he does reviews. Right now he's on break, but he has honest reviews that he does when he's on break that are like pre-recorded, so he doesn't have to do anything. But he did one on like a 2-parter on Firefly, and he brought that up. He heard about Firefly. He went to go see it, and it was never he like looked up when it was supposed to be on, and it was never on when it was supposed to be on. And it happened to him twice, and it happened to me too. Like I saw advertisement for Firefly, and I heard people saying, "Wow, this show's really good," and I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna check this out because this looks like space and shit. I might like this." Could never fucking. I remember I was living at the house. I was rooming with you, and I remember saying,
"We gotta see like one episode." We're like, "Oh, we want to watch it again," and we wrote down the time, thinking, "Okay, we'll watch it again." We sat down to watch it, and it wasn't there.
I don't even remember watching it. I think that was you and John.
We gotta see one episode.
That was you and John, because you and John told me about it, and I was like, "When's it on?" And you're like,
"It was supposed to be like Thursday night at 8 o'clock."
We sat down one night and we're like, "Hey, the Firefly show's gonna be on." We're like, "Oh, cool," and we all sat down. And fucking something else was on. I was like, I thought you said Firefly was going to be on. And you're like, it's supposed to?
And it kept saying, and you even see commercials on Firefly on Thursday 8 o'clock. And I'm sitting there.
Wasn't there that one time we were watching it, it was supposed to be on, it was something else on, we were watching it, and they're like, and it was like, they said, now on, Firefly, and they went back to like Simpsons or something. We're like, what?
I remember we ended up yelling "fuck you" at the TV, turned it back to Soul Calibur and started playing.
So we could never watch this fucking show, and we're like, "What the? Was it a movie?" We were like confused. Like, I was confused because like, was it a TV movie or something, or was it a show? And it was like, it could never get a chance to watch it. And and then they took it off the air, and we're like, well, it'd be nice if it was on the air.
We tried one night. We're like, okay, next Thursday. We tried at the 6 o'clock hour, wasn't on. 7 o'clock hour, wasn't on. 8 o'clock hour. Now watching Firefly. Goes back to The Simpsons, and we're like,
Are we out of time?
Yeah, guys, we're out of time.
Alright, we'll wrap it up. Alright, well, Firefly was a good show.
Yeah, it was a really good show.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. We'll bring another one up here shortly.
More regularly, hopefully.
Yes.
It is the Christmas season, so, break
we'll have
time.
free time. We get break time?
I don't know. I gotta talk to the boss about that.
My boss?
I don't know.
Who the fuck's running this shit?
I thought you knew. This explains so much. Alright, good night, everybody.
Night.